good morning or afternoon. Welcome to our group presentation on corporate governance. My name is Douglas Williams, and I'd like to start by thanking my fellow teammates, Heba and Liam, for putting together this slideshow we're about to go through. It'll just be me on the microphone for better or worse, as we were restricted a little bit with the right equipment, but I will endeavour to bring enough enthusiasm for all three of us. Today we'll be looking at the famous Toshiba accounting scandal that came into light in 2015. Toshiba is a Japanese multinational conglomerate headquartered in Tokyo, Japan. Its diversified products and services include information technology, communications, equipment and systems, electronic components and materials, power systems, industrial and social infrastructure systems, consumer electronics, household appliances, medical equipment, office equipment, as well as lighting and logistics. So they've got a lot under their belt. Founded in 1939, the company has grown exponentially to house four major organized groups, including the Digital Products Group, the Electronic Devices Group, the Home Appliances Group, and the Social Infrastructure Group. The company enjoyed a solid period of expansion from its inception up to the early 2000s, attributed to organic growth and a tendency to garner favorable acquisitions. Early in 2015, Toshiba enlisted an external investigator to assess claims of financial misconduct within the organization. The investigator returned after 2 months with a scathing report that had discovered major issues with the company's internal and external corporate reporting and how it was recognizing profits. The report found that for the past 7 years, the company had been overstating its profits to make each division appear to be hitting targets and making returns for its investors. The total was $1.2 billion in overstated profits over the 7 years, in which period 3 separate CEOs had served. The report concluded there was widespread intentional financial manipulation, and the numbers were fairly damning. Within days of this report being presented, 50% of Toshiba's market share had been wiped off the stock market in a major lesson of public outrage. So we can see in that little diagram that the GFC had occurred in 2008, and we were already on a decline. By the time we got to 2015 and the scandal had come to light, the damage had well and truly already been done. So what could have deterred Toshiba's executive management from these poor decisions? The ASX corporate governance principles recommend companies' management should act ethically and responsibly and safeguard the integrity in corporate reporting. These two principles were not adhered to, as Toshiba's executive management had orchestrated their systematic influence over the financial reporting function of each division during the 7 years this was occurring. These principles were simply pushed aside in an attempt to combat the poor trading climate the world was struggling with through just after the GFC. During these 7 years, the decisions in accounting practice for all the divisions by the executive management had produced financial reports that had very little integrity. The management had created a culture inside these divisions that allowed for profits on request. Profit targets were set by management that were unrealistic. However, they were the targets reported by each division. Despite the difficulty of reaching these targets, there was always a way. Divisional managers used a variety of different accounting treatments and judgments to ensure that the profit figures requested of their division would be reported. This was produced by simply pushing the company expenditure into future reporting periods or simply bringing revenue forwards ahead of each period's cutoff. Yes, at this point, Toshiba's executive management were truly cooking the books, and I'm sure the shareholders would have had that same face of that gentleman in the background when they found out. Some additional ASX corporate governance principles include respecting the rights of security holdings and the board's responsibility to its shareholders. From 2009 to 2014, in the 7 years this occurred, executive management ensured that profits were reported annually And from an outside perspective, Toshiba was actually operating efficiently and effectively. However, in their actions, the executive management had lied to both the financial regulator and its shareholders. Profit-based incentives for the executive staff were not translating into increased dividends for its shareholders. An individual's hard-earned money that was being invested in the company was being used to mislead the global economy. The three major figures who allowed this misleading narrative to occur were Atsutoshi Nishida, who was the CEO from 2005 to 2009, Norio Sasaki, who was the CEO since 2009, and Hisao Tanaka, Toshiba's president at the time. Each of them had worked within the company for many years. It had become apparent the board did not act in the best interest of its shareholders, by which during the 7 years, the standing board members were aware of the actions the executive management were doing, but did nothing to stop the manipulation of the financial reports. It was only too late when they finally decided to seek out an external investigator, and the end result didn't turn out too well for them. The board had allowed the executive management to carry on its quest of profit reporting without considering the current worldwide economic climate. The no questions asked approach had left Toshiba broken in the wake of the scandal. And of course, these corporate principles call for a stronger leadership in the board to remain objective, but also involved to ensure that the shareholders' money is protected. So after all of this, in 2015, Toshiba finally restated its profits over the 7 years. Turns out they had overstated the profit by $1.2 billion. The executive management resigned their positions, and overall the company had lost 50% of its value on the stock market. They also copped fines in excess of $8 billion, and by this point the shareholder confidence in the company had declined rapidly. Since 2015, things haven't entirely improved for Toshiba. As we can see on this last little chart here, ever since the accounting scandal in 2015, the company has actually been on a decline. It does pick up near the end of 2015, but as you can see right there at 2017, we have a major drop-off, and we're back almost where they ended up before. So thank you for spending your time watching this presentation. Like I said, it's unfortunate that we only had the one microphone to do this, but we all enjoyed putting together to come up with this, so we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.